Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 7 of the Pop Punk Podcast with me, T Will Official, and my G-ass co-host, Mr. Daddy Mush.
Sup, everybody? Thank you once again for that rousing introduction. Once again, what's up, everybody?
And today, I actually have something that I'm really excited to share with you guys. But first, you guys already know how we start off every episode. Ed, what have you been listening to this week?
Well, Mr. Will, I have been listening to a lot of the usual. I've been listening to, Zebrahead's Broadcast to the World, Newfound Glory's new album, some Chunk No Captain Chunk, and I've added some Tom DeLonge solo stuff and the Blink-182 Neighborhoods album to my mix on Spotify from, I guess, my recently played.
Oh, very nice. I know this is a little bit of a dead horse because I feel like we talked about this on every episode we talk about Blink, but I've really come around the Neighborhoods. I didn't like it at first. I was like, what is this experimental shit? But I guess in retrospect, when you see like California and especially 9, you look back on Neighborhoods, you're like, well, I mean, it was different. There's no doubt about it. But at least it still sounded like Blink.
Yes, of course.
Yeah, it still felt like it still had that Tom influence, and it's still like it felt like a very experimental version, almost alternative at times, but it still felt like it still had that Blink sheen on top of it.
Yeah, it felt like a natural progression, I guess one could say. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's the logical extreme after the self-titled. Like that was kind of experimental. It definitely was a little bit darker. They tried to, I guess, hop on the mall emo wave a little bit on some of the songs.
Well, I feel like that was definitely inspired by, Tom's venture into Boxcar Racer the year before. That was definitely the biggest influence, I guess.
Well, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Neighborhoods is just like the logical extreme of that. They take the experimentalness. I don't know if that's that's definitely not the right word because I don't think that is a word. But they take that and they just bring it up to 10. And I get it, if somebody doesn't like Neighborhoods, I will understand because it's, it's pretty different than what you would expect.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I've come around to it because, like I said, like, knowing what they become after that, I look back and I'm like, at least that sounds like Blink.
Yeah, and there are some good hidden gems on that album.
Yeah, I agree. Like I said before, and I always say, Natives is a top 10 song for sure, like, of all their whole, like, catalog.
Yeah, it's definitely a good song. I don't know if I'd put a top 10 for me.
I would.
I mean, that's a different episode for a different time, just complete rankings and stuff like that. But I haven't really thought about my top 10 now. But
yeah, no, I couldn't straight up give you a top 10. I'm just saying, like, off the top of my head, Natives is definitely in there.
Yeah, so what have you been listening to?
Okay, so I'm actually very glad you asked that because I have something else that I wanted to talk about today. I've been listening to a lot of Machine Gun Kelly's new song. Well, I guess it's not really new. It came out August 5th, but I discovered it like yesterday, like legit yesterday. It's called Concert for Aliens, and it's one of his new like pop punk songs. And dude, it's honestly really freaking good. Like, I like Bloody Valentine too. Don't get me wrong. I still like that song. I'm not gonna say that I don't like it, but I feel like I kind of liked it in the context of like it's MGK, so it's not gonna be like the same type of pop punk that I'm used to. But I still like it because of what he's trying to do. Because Bloody Valentine definitely kind of does have a little bit of like a new like Feldman era Blink type sound to it, which
Makes sense because Barker's on it.
Yeah, it does make sense because Travis Barker's on the new song too. Travis Barker, I think, is on all his I guess quote unquote rock songs.
That would make sense too.
But yeah, no. So like Bloody Valentine, I think I just kind of liked it in the context of I think it's cool that he's switching from rap to pop punk. And I appreciate that. And even if it's not like my favorite song in the world, I still like it for what it's doing. But the new song, Concert for Aliens, I just genuinely really like that song. I've had it on repeat ever since last night. I think I listened to it at least like 12, 13 times.
Yeah, I listened to it. It is pretty good stuff.
Yeah, I sounds so surreal to say that MGK has probably my favorite pop punk song of 2020 so far.
Well,
Him,
it makes sense considering how crazy 2020's been. But
I know it's been a fucking crazy year, and you know it's a really crazy year when two of my favorite pop punk songs were by rappers. There's "Concert for Aliens" by MGK, and then there's "Man of the Year" by Juice World. Yeah, may he rest in peace. But that song, I mean, I guess depending on how you look at it, it's not a 2020 song, but they released it in 2020, so I count it as a 2020 song.
yeah, I mean, I think it released to the public in 2020, so it's a 2020 song.
Exactly. And yeah, I don't know, it sounds so surreal to say, but like I mean, it kind of goes back into what I was saying back in episode 1, like the the scene is definitely still alive. It's just not. It's just alive in a way that I think a lot of people didn't expect. It's alive.
Yeah.
It's alive, and yeah, and like the rap scene, particularly emo rap. It's like there's MGK, and then there's Juice World, and there's that band If I Die First, which is just a bunch of emo rappers with members of From First to Last, just making 2006 era like MySpace post hardcore.
Yeah, and then of course there was always another late rapper, X, which is kind of weird how it seems like all the emo rappers died in one way or another with
Yeah,
him, Little
yeah,
Peep,
no,
and
yeah, Lil Peep, X, Juice World.
yeah, trust me, I know all about X. That's all I heard for the last for 2 weeks with my nephews. Say I make Facebook, big Instagram statuses.
Oh, dude, I know. Back when I used to stream Black Ops 3, like every like night there'd be someone coming in, because like I would stream with song requests on, because yeah, I wanted people to be able to jam out to the music they like while they watch me die over and over again. And at least like 2 3 times a night there would always be someone requesting, I don't remember the name of the song, but it was a song where it was like, "Can't keep my dick in my pants."
Yeah.
And yeah, and it's funny because like that was my only like exposure to X. So I actually haven't heard any of his emo rap stuff. So I actually like was kind of like shocked when people like lumped him into the same realm as like Juice World and Lil Peep and like Lil Lotus and like that whole scene. Uh, I still to this day haven't heard any of his music other than that song. So I might be a little out of the loop for X, I guess you could say. But
Yeah.
if he is in that same league as like those other guys I just mentioned, I'd be willing to give him a try because I do really like music from. Well, I can't say Lil Peep. I haven't listened to Lil Peep, but like I do like stuff from like Juice World and like Lil Lotus.
I mean, his the lead single off the album question mark by him is simply titled "Sad." So I mean, it's
Oh
the
man,
genres are considered cloud rap, alternative R&B, and emo rap on Wikipedia.
I say.
Yeah, so there's that. But yeah. So is that all you've been listening to? Is just the new MGK, or is there any other stuff you've been jamming out
Uh,
to?
I mean, I've been listening to Win by Two a little bit. Time on my hands, which
Yeah, I have been listening to him a bit.
yeah, it's funny because like like they are my friends, so I listen to them. Like like I want to support them and everything. But when I put that song on, it's not like because they're my friends. It's just because like I want to listen to it because I just think it's a really good song, and
Yeah, it is pretty legit. They're pretty good. I
it's
will say
been
that.
it's been a mainstay in my on repeat playlist for the past like 3 weeks. And I mean the whole EP is good, but that song in particular is probably my favorite by them.
Yeah, it's pretty surreal that we live in such a small world.
Yeah, I know how you you used to work with the dad for their drummer, and then
Yeah.
Mario, the bassist, was my friend, like completely independent of like everything together, and then everything just kind of intertwines.
Yeah, it's insanity just how small this world truly is in some
Which
ways.
yeah, which that actually kind of leads into the topic I wanted to talk about today. Uh,
Mhm.
so this Saturday, or well, if you're watching this on YouTube, this will have already happened, and we'll definitely have more to say about this next week. But this Saturday, we're going to be heading into the studio to record some music.
Yes, just for time references, Saturday, August 22nd.
Yeah,
Just in case
yeah, if
listen to in
you're
the past or anything.
yeah, if you're watching this on Twitch, it hasn't happened yet because you're watching live. But if you're watching this on YouTube, yeah, this video will be uploaded on, I think, the 25th. I think that's Tuesday. So this will have already happened. But next episode, like if you are watching this on YouTube, next episode we're gonna have definitely more to say about this because it'll have already happened. But yeah, and we're gonna be doing. It's gonna be me, you, Mario's gonna play guitar, and then John, Win by Two's drummer, is gonna play drums.
And
For
produce it too as well, I believe, correct?
what's up?
And isn't he a producer as well?
Yes, he's gonna be producing it as well.
Yes.
And yeah, we have one song completely finished. That's the song we're gonna be recording on Saturday, and then we have a few more songs coming up in the pipeline that we're still writing. Which two of them are already done musically and just need lyrics, and then one song we're still working on the music for.
Yes. 2 songs need lyrics. There's actually 2 songs that I have been writing. When I was talking to you last, there was a song that I forgot all about, and I just subconsciously remembered it the other day. But I'm kind of reworking it. But it's essentially verse, pre-chorus, and choruses are all done. It just needs a bridge and like a cool little intro. So yeah, stay on the lookout for that. I'm naming it. The song was simply titled "My Grandpa's Deck Has No Pathetic Cards."
And that is for the people that are watching that aren't as well versed in the anime as you are. That's a Yu-Gi-Oh reference.
Well, I mean, that's just pop culture at this point, man. I mean, everybody has seen the pilot to Yu-Gi-Oh, the animated series. I mean, my God. I mean, it's
My
a cult
grandpa's deck
phenomenon.
has no pathetic cards, Kaiba.
I'm not gonna get into it, but
then,
I mean, it's great stuff.
And then I have a few riffs that are in the pipeline. Nothing that is like anywhere close to recording stages, but I do have some ideas that when we get together in person next, I would like to show you, as well as just some like random lyrics that have just been kind of floating around in my head. That again, they're not really ready because it's just like literal lines of songs. But again, when we get some songs that are in need of lyrics, I can throw them in.
Yes, of course, and I guess we can start finally, I guess, truly collabing on some hot fire sooner than later. Once we get together on Saturday to really show you what I got going on.
Yes, I'm excited. I'm super excited because it's been a little bit since we've been in the studio. That's just how crazy 2020 has been. We can actually say we're going to be hopping back in the studio to record.
Yeah, after 2+ years.
Yeah, over 2 years now because the last time we recorded was 2018, which
March of 2018.
Yeah, we're gonna touch on that in a little bit, but yeah, March of 2018. So that's over 2 years because it's now August. As of the time of recording, it is currently August 20th.
So it's been about 2.5 years.
2 years and 5 months.
That's about 2.5, you know.
And I remember that was a wild time. I remember Chris went in, he laid down the drums, and then you went in, did the bass, and then Ant went in, did the guitar, and then I remember there was like a glitch in Logic, which is the program we use to record our song, which, by the way, the song that we recorded back in 2018, that is probably never going to see the light of day because the mix, first of all, I don't want to dog on the guy that produced it for us because he was a very good producer. He was just a little inexperienced with the drums, so the drums were very choppy, and my voice was a little flat on some parts that would have been fixed with pitch correction, but the pitch correction was very weird and made me sound very robotic. And I think I know why. I think it's because our song was in the key of B, but he had it in Logic as the key of C. So I think it was trying to tune me down to C, but then it wasn't working, so it tried to tune me back. It was very weird. I sounded very robotic. But again,
that makes sense.
Nothing against the producer. He was very good with what he did. He was just a little inexperienced with the drums, and it ended up sounding very choppy. And we were going to go back in and re-record the lyrics, because like I said, I needed to If I didn't have the autotune, I just need to make sure I went in and got everything right on the first try. But then unfortunately, half the band left, so that was the end of that. And then, like I said, this particular demo is gonna never see the light of day because the lyrics are about the original guitarist of Knockout Kings way back when it was
original guitarist slash vocalist
when it was two band names ago, and he has unfortunately since passed away. So that song, we might re-record it in the future with different lyrics, but that demo as it stands with the lyrics that it has now will probably never see the light of day. Just because I wouldn't feel right. I wouldn't feel right disrespecting someone who's no longer with us.
Yes, I agree with that. But I'm gonna be honest with you, I really wasn't a part of that recording all too much because I literally recorded my bass and I left. I didn't, cause I had to go to work, you know?
I remember that. I remember you laid down your bass track and then you left. And then I remember, so you weren't on the gang vocal.
I was because I was like 3 hours late to work. I didn't like my shift began at like 7 p.m., but I didn't roll up till like 9:30.
I remember that, yeah. Well, I think you were supposed to have somebody cover for you, but then I think like they got into a car accident or something.
No, that's what I told them.
Oh, gotcha. They thought you were in a car accident.
They thought Here the story was because I remember I texted the bartender, who's actually Mr. Moses' girlfriend, that saying like, "Oh, I want to be a schmidgen." I just said I'm gonna be a little bit late to work, a tad, and I just said, "Oh, I have a flat tire," blah blah blah. Then it's like 2 hours later, and I got like Moses calling me like, "Yo, man, Lex like freaking out. She thinks you're like in serious trouble. You good?" I'm like, "Yeah, don't tell her I'm just laying some bass lines right now."
I'm just laying down this hot fire.
I'm just laying down a bass line. I'll be there. Don't tell her not to worry. So like my recording experience was honestly just driving there, filling the BS with the drums, recording the bass line, and dipping. So you have the good stories from this. All that was I had to go to work because they thought I was dead or something.
Yeah, I remember that. I remember like, dude, I gotta go now. They think I'm dead.
Yeah, they were about to Moses was about to take like a freaking AAA call and try to find me or something. Yeah, so you have the juicy stories for about that recording session.
But so I remember like there was a glitch in Logic, and Chris's drum track got completely like butchered. No fault of the producer. It was clear this was just 100% like Logic's issue. I think it got like recorded wrong, and it made the drum track sound way busier than it was. It actually sounded kind of good in some parts, but like it wasn't what we recorded. So like we went through and we like fixed everything, and that took like a solid, I think, 45 minutes.
Yeah, and lucky for us, it's like a 1 minute 15-second song, because if it was a full blown song, that would have been hours.
Oh my god, I know. That was just that whole like that one song that took us like I think 2 days to record completely. That 1 minute song. And 45 seconds of it is an instrumental, I guess you could say. Like my lyrics don't really come in until like 35 seconds in.
The song is just literally just like an intro track to
get
people hyped up.
It's a glorified intro track, pretty much. Yeah.
It was hot fire though.
It was, and I'm actually very sad that demo's probably not gonna see the light of day. Because like I said, like production issues aside, it was a very good song. And when I'm not flat, I sound pretty good.
Yeah, well, there's the whole key of
is
definitely not ideal by any means necessary.
Because I remember he said, and for anybody watching, if you're thinking like, oh, they use autotune, fuck them fake ass singers. No, actually, pitch correction is a lot more common than you guys think. It just cuts down on the recording time, because your voice is never going to be 100% perfect 100% of the time. So I'm down with pitch correction, but yeah, I guess whatever happened, like it got so weird and it made my voice sound so like robotic, and it wasn't even like it didn't even follow like the melodies we had set in the song.
Yeah, so, it was very offbeat.
Yeah, it
That was my
sounded.
biggest issue with it was just how offbeat everything seemed.
Yeah, yeah, no, it wasn't. It wasn't good. Yeah, and again, I no disrespect to the guy that produced it for us. He was a really cool dude, and he was very good at what he like was experienced with. There was just a whole bunch of issues that I think he never had to deal with before, and I think that's why a lot of it came out sounding a little choppy.
Yeah, a whole lot new instruments because he was like mostly into hip hop and rap. And
Yeah, yeah, he was mostly a hip hop producer, and we were his first like quote unquote rock band. So I like I said, yeah, I want to give him credit where credit's due. The stuff he knew how to do, he did really well. But yeah, there was just a whole bunch of like unforeseen issues that kind of plagued that recording.
yeah, I mean that's just kind of recording in a nutshell, to be honest, because recording never goes according to plan. There's always issues with recording, for better or for worse.
I know, and it's funny because when everything does go well, I actually really enjoy recording. I know some people think recording is like the most boring part of being in a band, but I actually really enjoy it. It's
It's
fun.
actually I love being in the studio. Like to me, it's like it's just fun seeing like the creation, like the thing you make, your art per se, is finally like seeing the light of day, and it's finally like it's just no longer an idea. It's a real thing at this point, and that's just.
Yeah.
I guess when you're involved in something, I guess you feel a sense of pride to it, or you can feel just a sense of shame about it, which I have felt many times too, which I will be delving into in a few minutes probably.
Okay, I look forward to hearing that.
Yeah, so I mean, you also did some recording too outside of that 2018 session, did you not? With your solo project per se?
Yeah, I did a solo EP just by myself, uh, and it wasn't very great. And the recording, it was just like literally me and my friend Dave, and we just recorded in his like little bedroom studio. And again, no disrespect to Dave, but this was like his very first project ever. Like we were Pam's first like rock project. I was Dave's first like anything project. Um,
Yeah, so
and
obviously there's gonna be growing pains with everything.
and honestly, the production wasn't even my issue with it because I think he did a solid enough job. Like my vocals were flat in a lot of spots, but like the drums, because we actually didn't do any drums. He just completely programmed the drums in. So major props to him for that because that had to have taken for like ever. But they actually sounded really, really good. Like they didn't sound robotic at all. They didn't sound choppy. They sound like if you didn't know any better, you would think like somebody was on the kit just like banging those songs out.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff that people don't realize that goes into recording, but so that was your first recording session, was it not?
Yeah, that's my first recording session for like anything. I did a few like YouTube covers just like in my bedroom, but that wasn't like I wouldn't consider that like a recording process. It was just literally me singing into my rock band microphone plugged into the computer. And then I use like Audacity to kind of fix like where I go off beat, and then I would just upload it to YouTube. I don't even know if those videos are still on YouTube or not. If I find them, I'll let you know. Because I'm not like ashamed of them or anything. I mean, my voice was a little flat on some of the songs, but I'm not like ashamed of them or anything. So if I find them, I'll let you know.
Oh, awesome. Yeah, well, last time I recorded something prior to the other than the 2018 recording, like the first time I legit did a full blown recording session, because to me that doesn't really count per se, because I literally the bass line and left for like a song I'll never see the light of day. But last time I
Yeah.
recorded something for like that was extreme was the Ledger Don't Call It a Comeback EP. Was back in we recorded that in the spring of 2015.
Okay.
Mr. Pete Adams of the band Never Kept, which is who are actually signed to Epitaph Records, so good for them. And they're releasing some juicy Gotta Eat music because that was his whole plan for the last 6 years. Has been his mo was Gotta Eat, and that's where I learned about Gotta Eat. And I think
Yes. So
and also
whenever you hear one of us use the phrase "gotta eat," that's where it came from. The legend himself, Pete Adams.
yes, and we recorded it in his grandmother's attic, which was known as Game Studios. And this is why I don't like rushing anything ever again, because that EP was super duper extremely rushed because he had 3 days to record it, and he was literally leaving to Maryland in like 5 days. So we had to bang literally everything out. Like every song and guitar and bass had to be recorded all in one day. Every drum track was recorded in one day. All the vocals took like it was like a 14-hour day. It was like miserable. It was terrible. Like I hate like that's why I want to take my time with the songs, the lyrics to make sure everything sounds perfect because I don't really like how that EP turned out per se. Not Pete Adams did the best he could because he's a great producer, but just because
Yeah.
how rushed and unprepared we truly were because of the time frame that he kind of imposed because he was moving to Maryland
Yeah.
like the following week.
Yeah, if I recall, I think you said on the original version of Save the Clock Tower, that was Pete Adams on guitar, right?
Yeah, he was actually on all the instruments. He was on the guitar, he was on the bass, he wrote the drum parts on a keyboard. He did everything that himself that night. Like so, like that bass track you hear, he was playing that. Like I literally recorded a bunch because uh the guy man who's now passed away. We didn't know where he was. Chris was the drummer was in college at Rowan, so it's just literally me that day, and I just was just laying down like scratch tracks from like this is what we're playing, and then he just kind of his own thing. I'm like, the bridge. These are the bass chords, but I kind of want you to do this. So like that little on the bridge where the guitar is like kind of like moving up and down the fretboard. He wrote that part. So that's why he has writing credits on that. And he
Yeah.
also, the drum part and the second verse, he added those little improv with the guitars and stuff like that. Like it was originally just gonna be bass, but he added a little guitar stuff like that. So like he had a lot of that song, and that song was like super duper rushed because like it wasn't even finished. And we wrote lyrics literally 30 minutes before we walked in the studio, and it turned out to just to be a legit plot rehash of the first Back to the Future film.
Yeah, which I remember that made you very unhappy because I remember you telling me like you just wanted there to be light references to Back to the Future. You didn't
It
want it
wasn't
to
even
just
like
be the
plot
Wikipedia
rehash.
plot summary.
I know. Well, the original thing, and we got that with the second version of the song, which is now we're gonna have a problem. Yeah, which was like the original was supposed to be.
Yeah.
My original motto behind it was more like save the clock tower. Of course, I like having references because me and you both, but like the original kind of it was supposed to be more like metaphoric that you want to like go back in time to save the past per se about like a loved one or like a girl. It's something cheesy like that, but it's supposed to be
Yeah.
more metaphorical. It wasn't supposed to be
Yeah.
hey, this song's about Doc Brown and Marty McFly and a
Got a
time
phone
machine.
call from the doc.
Yeah, yeah. Mark's like, yo, this is fire, yo, and I'm like, you sure about that?
You sure about that, King?
Yeah, I know. So it's just like, so that entire EP was just rushed, and I guess like, and none of us could sing, so that's probably my biggest fault about it. Because I love the music on it, because I think those songs musically are great.
Yeah, I do really like the music for Austin 316.
Yeah, and that song's in the key of B too.
Yeah, which
But
is that's I think that's like one of the few songs we'll still play at sets. If we have to play like a longer set, we'll bust out Austin.
yeah, we gotta find somebody who knows how to play it.
Yeah.
But like that entire EP, like we literally sat on those recordings for over a year. Like we recorded those in like April and May of 2015. That's when I had like bleach blonde hair, and we didn't officially quote unquote unleash it to the public till about August 2016, and then like 3 months later, I pretty much deleted it off of all sites.
I remember that. Yeah, I remember there was like a solid like it had a solid like 2 month run where it was like all out on Bandcamp and YouTube. I don't think it was on Spotify or anything like that.
It wasn't.
Yeah, I think this was before Spotify became like a real like big
Yeah,
thing.
this is when everybody just kind of used Bandcamp if you were local.
Yeah. And then I remember after a couple months it turned from everywhere to just I think Save the Clock Tower was on YouTube. And now I don't even think that's on there.
I pretty much I think the only way you can actually listen to Save the Clock Tower, like the original version, is if like there's this dude I'm friends with, and he's getting back into it too. Same with us, so like I'm gonna start linking up with him. This dude Dave, I actually met him for the first time ever in person at the third game of the baseball season because he's a Braves fan,
Okay.
and so am I. And I just saw him just like sitting in the section over to me. I'm like, yo, that was cool. Was rocking it. Yeah, so like he has like a lot of these like a he has like kind of like a promotion company where he like puts out these compilations of like local bands and he like puts them online everywhere and stuff like that.
Uh huh.
And I just because like I know this dude for about like 8 years. Like he's one of those few people that like I've only met once in person, but like for period of time, like we talked like every single day for like 3 years, which is kind of cool and weird at the same time.
Yeah, which I mean, yeah, you guys were essentially online friends.
Yeah, and like we would talk like and like since he had like a promotional company, so like I got like I met him through like the Defend Pop Punk group before it became like toxic as all hell, and
Okay.
like and like as before all of this, I reached out to him to put us on like a compilation, and like we just started talking about baseball and just music and pop punk in general, and it was pretty awesome. So I'm actually going to get in touch with him after we do this, after we like record our song and everything, so we can like kind of put it out there.
Fuck yeah, I'd be down. Cause correct me if I'm wrong. Wasn't the original incarnation of Knockout Kings, when we were still called like Ledger and everything, the lineup that I wasn't a part of. You guys were on I think Sugar Pill Covers' label?
Yes, sugar pill. Yeah, thank you for reminding me that. Yes, sugar pill again.
What?
Sugar pill.
Yeah,
Sugar pill.
Sugar Pill Covers.
Yeah,
Who
yeah,
for those that don't know, he's a YouTuber. He does a lot of like videos like, oh, what if Angels and Airwaves? What if like this song was in the style of like classic Blink 182? And they're really enjoyable videos.
yeah,
I like them a lot.
yeah. He always does a lot of those stuff, but like, yeah, I just sent him because like it wasn't like a real record label. It's just more of like a kid who has something in England that he just kind of puts your music
Yeah.
up
Yeah,
on
but
a
like I mean, hey,
database and stuff.
at the end of the day, you could still say you were on a label. I mean, it's only really a technicality, but that's still kind of cool.
Yeah, and it was really weird too because like somebody like wrote a review about us. Oh, God Awful Records, that's what it's called,
Okay.
which is very unironic. Uh, but but yeah, I just emailed him. I was like, "Yo, we got this EP." He's like, "Cool, man." He just put up, and then somebody like, I guess one of his buddies or something had like a blog, and he wrote like a review about us. And like it was like New Jersey has a lot of great acts from Bon Jovi, Bruce Springsteen, Frankie Valli, now Ledger, and I'm like, oh, that's very
I
high
love
company.
I love the completely like he could have said, if you wanted to say stuff that's more fitting, he could have said like Saves the Day, My Chemical Romance, Senses
Midtown,
Fail,
yeah,
Midtown, but instead he's like Bon Jovi, Bruce Springsteen.
yeah. So like that was funny, and it was just cool, just like because it felt like wow, there's a very small cult following in England, and for whatever, and we did make like $2 in donations because I guess somebody bought the album because it was all like pay what you want. So I guess somebody
Yeah.
gave us like $1, and he sent us over like 75 cents. I guess our cut. So that was fun. Yeah, but
Yo,
like I said, like that recording process, like it was great. It was optimistic until the vocals hit because that's when I finally had the realization that I can't sing.
yeah,
Like
and
none of us can sing.
yeah, and I remember that was probably my least favorite thing about the original recordings too, because I remember I really liked the music to like all the songs off of that EP. But yeah, some of the lyrics are well, the lyrics are fine, but like the vocals are kind of like yeah, like
Well, to be fair, that's a problem with like 95% of all local unsigned bands is that like the music is good, but it's hard to get somebody who can sing.
that's true.
But yes, that was like my previous recording sessions, and it was like a full EP in like 3 days of just these long, long days, and it was great. It was fun. It was just like I just wasn't proud of the recordings. You know what I mean?
Yeah, kind of like yeah, it's kind of like how I feel about when we recorded Paul Allen's business card, which is the
And it was
name
like
of
really,
the it was the name of the demo that we did. Like I had a good time. I enjoy elements of the mix, but overall I'm not like proud of that mix. Like cuz I know we could do better.
yeah, and that's what I
Or
like.
well, in particular I know I can do better.
That's what I just don't want to avoid Saturdays. Like I want us to like there's no deadline for us. Like I don't want
Yeah.
to make music. I want to do as like sooner than later, but I don't want to just put something out for the sake of putting it out. I want
Yeah,
to like,
yeah. Like I think we're on the same page. Like I want it done ASAP, as soon as possible. But like emphasis on the as possible. Like
yeah,
I want it to get done as quickly as a good project can get done.
like that's why I'm thinking I'm like, there's no like, that's why I'm like, cause I'm like,
Yeah,
I was like stressing out when I was like trying to like come up with like an intro for a song. I'm like, probably won't be recording this song for another 3 to 4 months. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't have to
yeah,
be out next week. Like it can take a few months. It can take time.
yeah. And I mean, I definitely did come up with their lyrics a little quickly, but like I did take my time. Like when I was writing the lyrics to the song that we're gonna be recording on Saturday, I banged out like the first verse and the pre-chorus in like 5 minutes.
Yeah, well, at least it's not Save the Clock Tower, which was you're on Wikipedia going, oh yeah, he does ride skateboards in this movie.
but but anyway, yeah. So like I banged that out in like 5 minutes, just because like it all came to me in the span of like 5 minutes, and then like I was racking my brain trying to think of a chorus and like a verse too and everything. I'm like, you know what? I don't want to rush this. I'm just gonna finish up with my poop. And for those that don't, I write a lot of my lyrics on the shitter. I don't know why. That's when inspiration hits me. I don't know if that's TMI or not, but that's the story of my life. So I was like, all right, whatever. I'll just come up with lyrics later, and then I did. I waited till later, and honestly, like the verse two and the chorus and everything, they're like some of my favorite lyrics because I didn't rush, so I didn't like try to come up with stuff on the spot. You know what I mean? Where it's like, yeah, I guess this is okay enough, but like I got it done. No, I mean I did come up with them pretty quickly, but I still took my time with them, if that makes sense.
Yeah, you weren't. Yeah, that of course that makes sense. Yeah, I get it.
Yeah.
But yeah, so then we gave like Pete like money to like send us the mixes minus the vocals, which is why I have instrumentals of those songs because we were gonna like self-record the vocals
Okay.
because we wanted to like do better per se and rewrite some lyrics, in particularly Clock Tower.
Yeah, which I will admit, like we're gonna have to redo the lyrics again to Clock Tower because the second version of the Clock Tower was like all Chris, and Chris isn't in the band anymore. So just to be safe, I think we're gonna rewrite the lyrics a third time. But I
Yeah.
did the second version of Clock Tower. I actually really like those lyrics.
Yeah,
So
well, that was actually to my original vision per
yeah,
se.
yeah, I know, and the lyrics were like really good on the second. If anybody wants to hear the second version of Clock Tower, we don't have a recording, but we do have some live videos. We have a live video of one of our shows on Twitch, and then we have a live video of another one of our shows on YouTube. Maybe I'll link them in the description. But anyway, yeah, like I actually really like the lyrics to the second version of Clock Tower, which is funny because the first version is literally like this is just I'm Marty McFly. I'm getting a phone call from Doc Brown.
Well, it's role playing, you know, I mean, it's cosplaying. But and then my recording session prior to that was for all of this sampler slash the for all of this EP, which spanned from November or December of 2012 to May of 2013, also with Pete Adams of Game Game Studio. He's also from the band Never Kept, formerly known as Count to Four. They're on Epitaph Records. I don't know why I'm doing this like an advertisement, but
Well,
that's what they're
while
doing.
we're talking about Count to Four real quick, I just want to throw out there Lavender Town is a banger.
Yes, yes. So there's that. But yeah, we also recorded with him too because the singer of that band, Frank Cipriani, was friends with guitarist of the band Count the Four slash Never Kept, Jay Miller, and he like knew Pete obviously from them, and he recorded. So we went to the studio with him. That was the first time I ever met Pete, and that's when like that was
And
my
what?
very first recording experience.
And this was 2013.
Well, the first time we recorded was November or December of 2012, where we recorded, in my opinion, the two best for all this songs, the Gang Goes Pop Punk and From Here on Out, which were definitely the two signature songs of the band, I would say.
Yeah, which I do know both of those are on YouTube. I actually know because I was listening to them while I was taking one of my poops the other day.
Very nice, and they're also on those EPs are all, like, For All This, Bandcamp.com, or For All This NJ.bandcamp.com. That was my only rec and then, those 2 songs, in my opinion, were our best songs because they were more traditional pop punk, and they were also written by the late Mark Holcraft, which was he was obviously a very talented songwriter, I must say, all things
Yeah, I will say like because he wrote I think like most of the music to the original Ledger songs, and
yeah, he
they
wrote
are
pretty much everything except for Clock Tower, that was all me and some of Pete. Yeah.
yeah, and like the music for those songs are really really good.
And he wrote the music for the Genghis Pop Punk and From Here on Out, which are the 2 best songs, and he wrote those songs, like, a while back ago. We were a freshman in high school, so it's actually even
Yeah,
more impressive that a 14-year-old did that.
yeah, and even yeah, like even when he was still alive, and I had my opinions about him, I always said like, but he's an amazing songwriter.
Yeah, so yeah, so he wrote those 2 songs, and then those are the only 2 songs that he's on the recording of because he was kicked out of that band about March of it was the day before the Crosstown Ride reunion show of, like, M March. He was on those 2 songs. It was fun, it was great. I was, like, super proud of everything. I was literally just showing everybody, like, the bass track because like, I was like, "Yeah, I did this," 'cause it was just so exciting. I was, like, optimistic because I'm 17, finally living out my dream, and when you're in high school, I mean, I thought those songs were pretty good, and I still think they're pretty good, at least those 2
Yeah.
songs in particular. But, like, when you're, like, 17 and, like, you're in a band and, like, people legit, like, treat you like a rock star and the teachers, like, I was like, "This is life," and, like, girls finally started talking to me, and I was like, "This is amazing. This is what I've been waiting for the last 17 years, like, this is phenomenal." And then so we recorded those 2 songs, we put them on a sampler, we, like, gave them to a crap ton of people, we sent them to, like, everybody, like, including, like, dude Dave, which is how I met this guy Dave, because I was sending him, like, the recordings of those songs to put them on, like, the samplers he was putting out, and that was definitely probably my most successful band, I must say, because we recorded with because we played shows with this band, All My Honor, which were a signed band to, like I wanna say they were, like, Little Heart Records,
Okay.
and yeah, so we played shows with them, and we were just playing shows, like, once every 2 weeks, and it was amazing, and then we decided to finally finish up the recording in our studio because I think Count to 4 finally came back from tour or something like that. In May of 2013, we recorded the other 3 tracks on the EP, and then we released the EP June 8th, 2013. I'll always remember that, and I'll never forget because we decided to ride Count to Four's coattails and release our EP the same day as their full length.
Hey,
So that was just awesome. So,
you know
the
what?
recording
Hey,
of
you know what they say? Every move was calculated.
exactly. Yeah, Frank Cipriani was definitely the suit of that band, and I learned a lot of suitiness from him per se. And then but I remember those recording sessions being like just like fun and optimistic and just like phenomenal. Like I wasn't really stressed out at all because like I literally just played bass. I didn't have any songwriting. I didn't have any like writing contributions. I was literally just playing bass and like that's just more fun to me because like when you're writing a song, I feel like it doesn't come out exactly like how you envision it. I feel like you get a little like kind of like annoyed per se or like bitter or mad, you know what I mean?
Oh, you don't have to tell me twice, cause me, like, I am not the most proficient guitarist. So every time I'll hear something in my head, and usually when I like writing songs that are like easy core inspired, but not full easy core. Like they might have some chugs, they may have some screams, but I wouldn't call them like full on easy core songs. But then when I go to write, because I'm not very good at the guitar, all I can really write is like skate punk, because that's just so simple that even I can write it. And
Skate Punk's so good.
it always just yeah. I'm not trying to dog on skate punk. Just skate punk is probably the simplest form of pop punk, I guess I would say.
Yeah,
But like it'll always just come out sounding like skate punk, and I'll just get really frustrated because like that is not at all the sound I was going for.
yeah, well, I think when you're recording, it's a little bit different because you wrote this song and, like, you think it's amazing, and then, like, you pay all this money, and then you come out like, "This isn't how I wanted this. This is not good.
Yeah, yeah, that would probably
I
be
felt
even more
I felt that
frustrating.
I felt that way about the entire Ledger EP, which is why we held on for a year. 'Cause I'm thinking like I paid 80% for this EP. We're not releasing it until I say we're releasing it.
This is my fucking EP. I paid the fucking money. We will release it when I say we release
Yeah,
it.
so like that's why I was in the with the for all of this. Like I just played basement. I was just there. I was just having a great time. I was hanging out with Pete, being 17, playing Tony Hawk's Underground on his PS2 in his grandmom's attic. Going to Burger King, going to Rite Aid. We had all the boys from high school stopping by. It was just like a giant party, just recording. It was just one of the greatest like moments, not of my life, because I don't know what my greatest moment of my life is. That's a little too deep, but like for definitely recording, it was definitely my greatest recording thing. And like
Yeah.
when it dropped, like senior year of high school, and like everybody loved that ish, just because we're high schoolers, and I was like we were like the band of the high school that of our generation.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
still got people going like, "Yo, man, you still in for all this?" I'm like, dude, I quit that band literally a month after we graduated.
Yeah,
Yeah, but like,
I remember. Yeah, no, you guys were like the shit back then. Because I remember I used to go to like the battle of the bands, and this is like even before I think we like linked up as friends. I would
we
always
linked
see
up
like,
like months after that, like the summer of 2013 through James.
yeah, yeah, through our mutual friend Jimmy. I remember that. And yeah, like even before we like linked up as friends, I'd see you guys play like the battle of the bands and shit. I'd be like, yo, these guys are pretty dope.
Yeah, it was like pretty awesome because like I remember graduation day, and I'll never forget this moment because like that's when I felt like I finally became like a rock star per se. Is like this random kid who didn't like me at all was just I was walking to like I think like the whatever the convenience store right down the high school was to like pick up like in Arizona just because I was thirsty, and he's just blasting from here on out, just in his car driving down the street like with nobody in it. I'm like, damn, he must like legitimately like this song if he's listening to it by himself. And I was like, yeah.
That's banging. Yeah.
I'm like, "No, man, like, I finally made it," and then I quit a month later.
Yeah, I think my biggest rock star moment was I was at Zoomies. I forget why I was there. I was with Tyler and Dwayne, so I think like they were doing some shopping, and I was just kind of there just because I was with them. So it's either do that or just wander the mall by myself. So I went into the Zoomies with them, and the cashier, first of all, he had like Lil Peep playing, and I was like, yo, this actually isn't like terrible. So I guess I'm on the Lil Peep bandwagon now. But the cashier, he looks at me, he's like, dude, I recognize you. I think I played a show with you. And I was like, yeah, yeah, yeah. This is back when we were still called Storyline. I was like, yeah, so Storyline? He's like, yeah, we played the Creep Records show together. And I was like,
Oh, yeah,
holy
that dude,
shit.
yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
that was awesome. But, like, yeah, so it's just, like it's just cool when, like, you message people from, they don't know me personally, but, like, of course, they knew the one guitarist Colin because he's, like, in a million different bands, and he's, like, a e-girl of boys. But, like, I was messaging this one girl, and it's like, "Oh, you were in, For All This?" I was like, "Yes, I was, girl. Yes, I was, 8 years ago. I'll never forget."
8 years ago.
Yeah, but, like, it was just, like, awesome because and then, like, I quit that band, I started Ledger with Mr. Holcraft, and then, things happened, then, obviously the second reincarnation happened, that ended, so now we're in the 3rd stage of it, so it's been,
Yep.
like,
Yep.
7 long years of this crap, and of course how can I forget Jawline?
Oh yeah, I remember that. Yeah, yeah, that was you and Jimmy and I think
Chris
Chris Kelly.
Kelly
Not to
and
be
Mike Maloney.
confused, not to be confused with the Chris Kelly of Crisscross, who is I think unfortunately deceased.
To be fair, I mean, that's probably a very, very common name.
Yeah, I know. I'm just saying.
It's like saying Mike Johnson died, and I'm like, "Ooh."
I remember, I remember Chris Kelly would. I think he would get like upset when people were like, "Yo, dude, I heard you died." People like, "Yeah, very funny."
Yeah, so that band was a joke because we played 2 shows. One of them was and none of them was with the actual complete band.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, because one of them, I think, yeah,
I was in Florida,
yeah.
and the other one, Maloney just didn't answer his phone at all for, like, 2 weeks.
It just fucking went off the grid.
Yeah, so, like, that was a joke, and, it was funny because there was, like, 12 songs written, but, like, you know how some people are, and nothing's ever good enough, and they kept throwing away songs, and then egos happen, and I just like, I just want to play bass, man. Like, just let's just record and play. I just want to play bass. But
Yeah.
yeah,
I remember
Ledger's def
that.
yeah, Ledger's definitely when I became kind of like a songwriter per se, and I finally had like an actual important role than just kind of be the bass player. And my only vocal credit on that for all of this EP was in the acoustic version from here on out. I quote Titanic during the bridge.
I remember that. You showed that to me. You're like, that's my one writing credit. And you're like, paint me like one of your French girls.
Jack, as in Leonardo DiCaprio's character in Titanic. Yeah, so that's just pretty much my recording stories, and hopefully we make even greater ones in the upcoming weeks and months, and hopefully for a very long time.
Yeah, exactly. And then I obviously don't have as extensive as a history. I have the one solo EP that is not very good. I have disowned it. It is still on Bandcamp. I ain't gonna say it. If you find it, I'm not gonna be like, don't listen to it, but I ain't gonna say it on the podcast. Because I am not ashamed of it, but I'm also not very proud of it. That's pretty much all I've done so far. And then the little Paul Allen demo that, again, will probably never see the light of day, because that would just be bad juju. Talking shit on a dead man.
Yeah, and then none of this is canon yet until Saturday, so hopefully some good stuff happens.
Yeah, and I'm very, very excited for Saturday. And again, on the next episode, because I know if you're watching this on YouTube, we've already been in the studio, we've already recorded. But next week, we're going to have a whole lot more to say about this.
Yes, sir. I'm very excited.
Yeah, and I think that's actually going to kind of do it for today. I know that was a little bit of a shorter episode, but you know what? That was actually probably like one of my favorite things that we were talking about, because I love talking about this shit. Yeah, exactly. It's not just like, oh, well, what happened in pop punk this week?
Yeah, to be fair, I mean,
to be fair, this is technically current events in pop punk.
Oh, I know. Yeah, it is.
So
that is true.
Yeah. So anybody that's watching on Twitch, on YouTube, on whatever, be on the lookout. I don't know when this is going to be released, because like I said, we don't want to rush it. We want to take our time with it. We want to make sure everything sounds good before we release it. So like, if he fucks up a note, or if I fuck up a vocal line or whatever, we're going to re-record it. We're not going to be like, good enough. So might be a little bit. I'm not saying it's going to be on Spotify like next week, but be on the lookout soon. Because for the first time in like years, we can actually say we got some new music in the pipeline.
Yeah, and now it's just no longer talk now. Now things are actually happening.
Yeah, things are actually happening. Yeah, I'm like super, because like just the way it happened, right? Like, we had Mario on our podcast, and then we were on Mario and John's podcast, and then just like we got to sit down and talk for a little bit, and that's when John made the offer. He was like, "Yo, if you want to record here, I'll record it for you, and then I'll also play drums on it for you, since I know you guys don't have a drummer at the moment." And we were like, shit, we might take you up on that. And then I just texted Mario, because Mario's like been one of my boys since like 2010. I was like, yo, we need a guitarist too. Do you want to just at least for the recordings? And he said yeah. So so things are finally happening, and I'm super excited about that.
And the reason why I'm happy we got this going on is that when we're recording it, because I feel like whenever you message somebody, like I feel like a recording shows that you're serious, and they can actually listen to high quality stuff and be like, I like this, I want to be a part of this, instead of
yeah, because for
the crappy live recording, it's just kind of like whatever, you know what I mean? Like nobody's gonna like, I wouldn't take that offer if somebody's like, this is all we have, it's just like record from a cell phone. I'd be like, well, if you said show me a recording, I'd be like, now you have my attention, you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. And for the past like 2 weeks, we've been getting mad people hitting us up on Craigslist that would pass us up once we didn't actually have recorded music to send to them.
So hopefully this just kind of just jumpstarts everything, and hopefully hopefully this is the bottom, and we're only climbing the mountain from now on.
Yeah, so bunch of new exciting things coming in the Knockout Kings pipeline. So be on the lookout for that. As for the podcast, you guys already know what's up. every Thursday at 3:30 on Twitch, every noon on Tuesdays on YouTube. And yeah, so we will catch you guys next week. Like I said, we are going to definitely be talking more about this next week as well, because we'll have already recorded and we'll have stories to tell. And yeah, catch you guys next week.
See you, everybody.
Peace.